Hello Internet, welcome to my channel. I just got back from picking up some guitars, well, a guitar and an amp and some pedals. I just want to show them off. I haven't even really gotten a chance to mess with them, so I wanted to document looking them over and share it on my blog, share it on my YouTube channel. So let's see, last night I was looking at OfferUp, came across a pretty cool deal. Basically, I was looking for tellies, just browsing, not intending to buy anything, and I saw a Fender modern player, a guitar amp, and some pedals, and the guy was asking for $500, which seems a little high, but then I looked at the guitar combo and it said tube, which is something I've been really interested in. Right now, all my guitar amps are solid state, and I definitely prefer tube amps, so I looked a little closer and figured out that, well, the brand was Crimsontone, which isn't a brand I heard of, or I had heard of before, but I went to the maker's website. It's a local guy from Mesa, Arizona, and he's asking like $1,729 for this amp. So I thought, wow, that's an amazing deal, because with the guitar I could probably sell the pedals and the guitar and end up getting a really decent tube amp for $200 or less, worst case. So I messaged the guy that I was interested, offered full price, the $500, because I was that interested. I didn't really want to haggle. He came back to me, accepted it, and we emailed back and forth to set up a time and a place and get that going. So I went out to meet him and looked over the stuff. Unfortunately, the equipment was in a little worse condition than I had expected, but it was still good enough. And I'm hoping I didn't overlook anything. So that's what we're going to do now, is take a look at the stuff I got and see if it's still a pretty good deal. All right. So first things first, we'll look at the amp. Okay, so just taking a look. I went over it briefly when I was talking to the seller. Just made sure that it looked like the knobs and everything worked correctly. We met up at a grocery store, so I didn't get a chance to plug anything in or demo anything. So I'm taking a risk. Okay, he did give me a cable. One thing I did notice before I was picking it up, I was a little disappointed that the fabric here is coming undone from the box. But I think this is something that I can glue back together. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. I also noticed that I don't know if we can see, but the stickering on the back is a little bit peeled up, and I think that might be because the heat of the tubes or of the amplifier are kind of causing that to heat up and warp over the years. That might just be what's going on with that. Alright, so let's plug this in. Actually, while we're looking back here, there's also an ohms switch. It does 16, 8, and 4. The 16, the cabinet or the speaker that it's hooked up to now is 16, so we'll just leave that here, but you can pull out this speaker cable and hook up a bigger or a different cabinet. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Let's see if it actually fires up. That's good. good sign. We got the light going. Let's turn down the gain, set the bass and treble to about 12 o'clock, turn down the master and the gain. Okay, and then it looks like there's a bass shift and a treble shift. I'm not completely familiar with those types of switches, so I'm sure it just changes the frequency at which you're increasing the bass and the treble here. So if you want to control bassier frequencies, you would hit low, and this is low. Otherwise, if you want to control the higher end of the bass frequencies, you would do here. Same with treble. Okay. Looks pretty good. It's nice that it powers up. It's a good sign. So the next thing we'll look at real quick. So I got this chromatic tuner. This is what I use typically in my band. So I won't be keeping it, but you know, it'll reduce the overall cost of this purchase. I almost lost this little pedal. So it came with this. This is a Donner Yellow Fall. I think it's a delay pedal. I think this is one of the cheaper, just Chinese made delay pedals. They usually run like 30 bucks, kind of like the Joyos or whatever. Kind of cool though. And got an AC adapter. It says replacement for Boss and Ibanez. So most likely just an aftermarket, inexpensive AC pedal or AC adapter for pedals. Still handy to have. Oh, and looking at this, it's not in the greatest of shape. This wire is kind of, I don't know if you can see, but kind of coming apart. So I wouldn't use that if I didn't have to. It'll be good for testing out things though. Okay, and came with this foot switch. I'm guessing, obviously this is just a Fender channel selector, but I'm guessing that I'm going to be using it with the amp in some way. Just not quite sure how yet. Alright. Going over here, got a Strat Tele case that's in pretty ridiculously bad condition. I mean, not ridiculously bad, but this is taped down. It's totally coming apart. Looks like it was ran over or something, honestly. And it's got tape and other things that have been stuck on and unstuck. But it still works. Good enough. So here's the guitar. Probably can't really tell, but it's pretty filthy. But that's fine. You can always clean off dirt. One thing that I noticed when I was checking it out is that this volume knob spins forever and ever, and I said, what's up with that? And he said, oh, you can just glue it back down. So either replace the knob or glue it back down. I'm not sure which yet, but it's fine. It kind of works. I don't think it really turns down the volume, but it at least aesthetically looks okay. The seller said that this is a coil tap switch, so it'll take, or it'll make this humbucker into a single coil, so you can get more of traditional tele sounds, or a humbucker, so you can get more modern guitar tones. And this is more like a Strat middle pickup, and then your traditional tele single coil. I did notice that this screw is missing, but that's okay. I have tons of replacement screws, so I'll just replace that. At some point I will take it apart. at least take off the pick guard, because when I see a missing screw, I wonder why is that missing? Who was in this? What were they doing? And why were they losing screws? Hopefully this isn't stripped out and just fell out. I guess that's a possibility. Alright. I really like the color of the neck. It's got like an amber dye to it. And it's got a really glossy finish. I really like an oiled finish or a satin finish, but this is fine too. It's Chinese made. It's got vintage style tuners. They feel alright for what they are. You know, not the best tuners, not the worst tuners. These strings are kind of crazy. I've never seen string balls or whatever these are called that kind of stick out like this. Definitely be changing the strings pretty soon. Speaking of strings, let's see how it feels. Yeah, they're really dead sounding, really rubbery. So before I do any real demo with this guitar, I'll be changing the strings to pull this out. Oh, that's one thing I didn't mention. It's got two string trees. They look kind of strange. They look a little high to me, but. And I just wanted to check this out real quick. Looks like a little home fixer-upper, stapled a piece of bandana, and nothing else. So that's that. All right. Give me a second and we'll plug in the guitar, plug in all the pedals. Okay, so I've got everything wired up. I don't have two plugins, so we're gonna do the tuner first and then the delay pedal. That makes sense because any good guitar player is gonna probably tune first. And I see it lights up. Seems to be working pretty well. It's in chromatic mode, so you can see that all of the LEDs are lighting up. At some point I'll test this a little bit more thoroughly, hook it up to an amp and make sure that the output and bypass are working as well as the input, because right now I'm not really testing that. Probably check the battery compartment. I'm just tuning standardy. Alright, that's good. So, cool. Glad the pedal works. Set that guy aside. And juggle around these cables. Okay, looks like the delay turns on and off, so that's cool. We're just gonna bypass that for a second and see if the amp works, which is the most exciting part. Hopefully I need to turn it up some more because okay. Alright, so let's go through the settings on the guitar real quick. Alright. So the first setting is just the humbucker, sounds good. That's with a split coil to single coil. second setting is probably these two pickups combined. Oh, that sounds kind of phasey. This kind of sounds phasey. A little bit more normal with the humbucker. Then the second position is probably going to be this, just the middle. Sounds fine. The third position should be the middle and the neck pickup. Sounds good. And finally, just the neck pickup. Alright, so that's kind of the range of the tones we're going to get with this. Let's go back to the amp for a second. So there's not really any effects built into the amp. So we're just going to get a really clean. But let's see how the distortion sounds. Alright, seems like everything is working. I want to check the foot switch. I'm not really sure how this is gonna work, but so the foot pedal just acts as this gain boost on and off switch, so that you can kind of have two channels, or a clean and a distorted. It's pretty good. I don't think this second button does anything. I think at some point I'll probably get a pedal with just one switch. Just to minimize my pedal setup, but it sounds pretty good, and I'm glad I bought it. One more thing to test is this delay pedal. Let's hear it. Alright, well that works. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my purchase. Everything turned out pretty decent. Like I said, I wish the condition could be a little bit better, but I think after I clean it up and do some repairs to these things, it's gonna be pretty good. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel. I'm just getting started out, so it'd be super helpful for me, and it would help my my rankings and allow other people to see what I'm doing. Alright, thank you. Bye.